part of me.
All right, we're going to cover referrals now.
That's the right spot.
And are we back live again, John?
Okay.
So this is also a fairly new session. That I had all this material forever, guys. Okay, but what happened is we've been creating it and putting it in PowerPoint and workbook and making it. So I've done this 2 or 3 times so far, and it's gotten good reviews. So. And what it is, it's not necessarily so much the stuff I'm going to teach you in referrals. We're spending an hour on referrals right now. And it's a big deal to be good at referrals because your closing percentage goes up. All right? You know one of the biggest problems people have with referrals? They don't ask for them.
That's true.
They don't consistently ask for referrals. And if you want to grow your sales in the next 30, 60, 90, however many days it is, then you absolutely want to focus on this. So let me get my paperwork together here. There we go. Okay. Best way to get clients is by referral. To get referrals, you have to ask. That's what I was just saying. Bottom line. Referrals are also important because they reduce your sales expenses and sales cycle. So referrals, less costly on you, less emotional on you. It's easier, especially if it's warm and they've called ahead and they've said, hey, this guy's awesome. You got to meet him. That's why we're working with them. There's a difference between a referral and a lead. What do you guys think the difference is? What's the difference between a referral and a lead?
You get an introduction on a referral. And a lead is just usually...
You got 2 people. You gave me leads. They're not referrals yet.
Referrals yet.
Okay? Yep. So that's a difference, okay? So leads you get, oh, cool, thanks. Referrals you go, woo, yeah! Big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Big difference, right? So that's the first one. Next one. Increase your sales revenue. This is big right here. The closing ratio for non-qualified leads is 10%, typically. The closing ratio for referral leads is 60%. Now, that's a generic number, but it goes way up. That's the thing I want you guys to know.
Mm-hmm.
It goes way up when it's referred business. 10 of my 13 clients right now that I work with on a monthly basis were referred to me. That's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? That's more than half. Someone referred them to me. So, it pays for you guys to say, I'm going to leave here today being better at asking for referrals, knowing how to ask, knowing different ways. And I call it power partnering, which I'm going to talk about here in a second. Because sometimes your best leads can come from power partnering with other companies, with other people not even in your industry that know people. All right, through LinkedIn. We do a lot of stuff through LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. All right, but there's a way for you to go out and meet a bunch of people. I'm going to talk about this in a second. 100 different people that aren't even in your industry, but because you built a relationship with them and you want to help them in their businesses, they're now going to want to help you in your business. Does that make sense to you? Mm-hmm. You're opening up a bigger sphere, a bigger net to cast in people that could work with you. I'd rather, they say a broker in real estate. As a broker, is it easier to have 100 people selling 1 home each, or is it easier to have you as one person have to sell 100 homes? I'd rather train and get the office going and get 100 people to sell 1 home each. That's probably more likely to happen. Once I get them up and running, they'll probably sell a lot more than 1 home each. Some of them will. Than me, I'm going to reach a time thing where I can't do it anymore. So, is there a value to you building a power networking force? Other power partners around you that are being your champion cheerleader, helping you get business? Absolutely, there is. Okay. Why do so few people ask for them? Question for you guys in here. Why do so few people ask for referrals?
Afraid of rejection.
Okay. Why else?
Being pushy. Afraid of being pushy.
Not feeling confident enough that you're doing a good job.
I don't know how to.
They don't know how.
Yeah. You don't know the verbs. I'll give you verbiage in here today. All right. So don't want it to sound pushy. Okay. Well, if you're offering a good service, which you think you are, right, mm-hmm. and a good company, mm-hmm. why would you think you're sounding pushy? See what I'm saying? If you really believe, and you know what's going to cause you to really believe is the self-talk. If you don't say your self-talk enough, you're not going to believe you have the best product. But if you say the self-talk, we are the best company, the best product service, the best for this person, I really believe we are the best. I'm working for a great company. Oh my God, we are really, really good. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. The grass is good right here. And you say that enough times, referrals going to be no big deal because you're going to believe what you got. People that don't ask for referrals aren't doing self-talk. People that don't do enough referrals don't have self-talk as one of their affirmations on referrals. You should have, if you're not good at referrals, how many of you guys, honestly, you're not that good at referrals, be honest with you? Okay. Look at that. Guess what one of your affirmations needs to be? I am an incredible person at getting referrals. I ask for them every time and people give them to me. If you read that 6 times a day, what are you going to have to do? Ask for referrals. I don't know, I'm uncomfortable doing that. Okay, be uncomfortable. Close at 10%. I'd rather close at 60%. You know what I mean? Remember, those numbers aren't going to be exactly right, but get comfortable asking for referrals. Make that part of what you do. When you walk out of here today, say, I'm going to study that closing stuff again. I'm really glad we hit that closing stuff, and I'm going to become better at referrals. All right? Because they use the wrong approach and have limited success. So, first of all, set a target.
I'm lost on where you are.
I am too.
Set a clear goal with a timeline.
What?
Okay, you're
Page
on
two.
referrals.
Page 2, second page.
Second page.
See the
Set
bullseye?
a target.
Thank you.
Set a clear goal with a timeline. Example, 10% increase in referral business over the next 10 weeks. How many times you ask for a referral versus how many times you receive a referral. So don't just say today, I'm going to get better at referrals.
Okay.
You won't let us off the hook.
Okay, I hate when people do that. I'm going to get better. I'm going to lose weight. How much? By when? You know what I mean? I'm going to be better at prospecting. Better than what? All right? I'm going to set more appointments. More than what? By when? I'm hoping you guys get, what are you going to do more? How much more? So if you know right now you're asking for referrals 1 time a week. Now, if I'm supposed to make 5 to 10 contacts a day, let's just say I make 5. That's 25 people I'm contacting. Even if they don't do business with me, I can still ask them for a referral, someone else that might want to do business with me. So to be fully on track here, then you'd say I want to get 25, I want to ask 25 times this week. Doesn't mean I'm going to get 25 referrals. So what it says right here. How many times did you ask versus how many times did you get? So I'm going to suggest to all of you, you make a goal. How many times am I going to ask? And then you keep score of that. Now, will it be uncomfortable? Oh, yeah, I don't know the right way. Or I don't want to sound pushy. Guess what? It's me uncomfortable a little bit. What happens that 3rd time when they go, well, you actually might want to call Joe over at ABC Hardware? And you go, oh, cool. Would you mind giving Joe a call and telling him that you met me on the phone? It really didn't work out for you, but you're interested in this thing. I mean, you think he'd be interested in this thing, or you're thinking of doing this thing, and you want him to... Now, that's the second step. Would you mind calling them up? Would you mind writing them an email? Would you mind introducing us? Would you mind doing a 3-way call? Because then it's a referral, not a what?
Prospect.
Lead.
Not a lead. No.
Leads versus referrals. All day long, we want referrals. Referrals are someone I'm going to set you up with, and I'm going to call them and tell them you're a rock star. That's when it goes up. Their likability of you goes up. Their guard goes down. Their trust of you goes down. You guys are going to like sales. You guys are going to make more sales when you really buy into this referral thing. I'm telling you, it's big.
So we want to make sure that when we get the referral, that the person that's giving us the referral is going to call that person and let them know.
Yeah, or write them an email right while you're in the room. Say, you know what, I got to share with you. I've been doing this for a long time, and a lot of times people want to help me out, and they just say, well, you should call this company. But if I call them up and I say, Dan's worked with me, it's different than you calling them up and saying, hey, I just gave him your name to Gary. I just want to let you know we've had such good success with him. Man, he's been working with us for 6 months, and he really helps us, and he follows up with us, and he's real, and he knows the problems we have. He's in sales. See what I'm saying? So I would highly recommend when he calls you, you listen to him. You notice the difference? Now, they're like, okay, cool. Now, when I call, they go, oh, yeah, she called me. They're going to listen to me. Or they're going to give all the objections right there to them. They're never going to work with me. Because if their friend, if they don't want it from their friend, they're certainly not going to buy from me.
Yeah.
Because I'm a cold call. So yes, you need to have them call over and get that. That's big. It's an extra step in there, and a lot of people don't teach that. It's a huge thing that you have to do.
Is a letter okay too?
Yeah. Letter's really good. But then even a follow-up too, call. Hey, I sent you a letter, I sent you an email. Like I got a ton of testimonials. I got tons of them. But how many can I turn into actual business is difference. Okay, it's a big difference. Okay, so for someone to refer you business, they need to know you, like you, and trust you. They must know you, like you, and trust you. Imagine that you had a group of 100 people. So play this game. This is where I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about building a network. Because a lot of you guys know people that aren't in your industry. Just friends, family. But what if we get a bunch of allies on our side that can help us build our business? And you can help them have better lives too. So I want you to be thinking about this, right? So imagine that you had a group of 100 people who are willing to refer clients to you. How cool would that be? 100 people.
I'd have 60 new clients.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, 60 new clients, that's right. More than that, because if they're willing to refer clients to you. Now imagine further that these people whose own work put them in touch with your own potential clients every day. You can set about doing exactly this by, first of all, identify a list of people who would be strong referral sources. And begin making their acquaintance. So you first go with your industries that are calling on the same type of people that you call on. Mm-hmm. So we talked about this before. So what would be an example of a type of business that calls on the same type of business you call on?
Banker.
A banker.
Wealth managers.
Wealth managers. Who else?
Accountants.
Yeah.
Accountants. All right. So in your territory, which is all over the state, do you think you could find 100 between bankers, accountants, and everything, and you're trying to set appointments with them just to become power partners the same way that you're trying to set appointments with people that you call on?
Mm-hmm.
We call them power partners. So I just want to meet with you, Mr. Banker, and I'm not really trying to get any business from you. I actually want to help you in your business. Okay? And then I just want to have a cup of coffee with you and see how we can partner together to help both of us grow our businesses.
So what do you think about the groups like LaTip? And
I run a chamber networking group in San Jose through the Chamber of Commerce, the Silicon Valley Chamber of Commerce. And we have since I'm pretty strict with it because I'm one of the co-people on it, that you have to bring leads in. You have to bring referrals in. And several weeks in a row about leads, and then we're going to ask you to go out and put somebody else into the group. Okay, the tip's pretty good, and the other one that's really good, I can't remember the name of it. It's what other lead groups are there, guys?
B&B.
B&I.
Yeah, BNI. I like that one the best. Okay, because I went to theirs and it's really strict. So if you need really strict accountability, Business Network and International. Okay, and I went to 2 meetings in San Jose at Winchester Mystery House, and man, you have a car when you get in there, and they just totally. If you're not bringing in leads for other people, but it's really cool though because everybody's bringing in leads for everybody. It's awesome. It's really cool. In our chamber group, it's a little more loosely knit, but I've gotten some leads from it, and I'm always looking to give leads. And we have about 15 people in our group, so usually you could check with your local chamber, and then usually chambers have like little small groups. Is anybody here in a networking group? Okay, what kind of group are you in?
well, I was in LaTip, but I do a lot of chamber stuff too.
Yeah, it's big. Okay, if you're not,
But for us,
You know,
for
it's
like
hard.
The smaller clients.
It's
that's
hard
the
for
only
us to
thing.
actually have success there.
Right, the
Because,
chamber?
yeah, generally speaking, because we don't get paid on deals unless they're $5,000 or more in revenue.
Oh,
And those businesses tend to need to be larger than a lot of the businesses that are in chamber, usually in the chambers and or in the leads groups like BNI.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's actually, BNI can work, I think, well for somebody that's doing business to consumer, doing personal insurance. That's a good thing, or our small business unit.
All right.
Not as successful for us.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you can network all the time, all the place. There's in the back of this. There is a list that I gave you, which is called Memory Jogger and Lead Generator. And this is where you can go through and just make a list of everybody you know, just personally know. And you could think, God, they might know some people in that arena, and they might know, And if you have 100 people that you know, typically everybody knows. You guys remember the rule of 200? Everybody in here knows 200 people. I guarantee you. Probably no more. Probably no more than 200 people. But everybody at least knows 200 people, and they know 200 people. So you're 2 degrees away from 40,000 people. That's where LinkedIn is so good. And I just bought into LinkedIn about a year ago and really got serious about it. And now I've got like 360 names in my LinkedIn. And it's powerful to, when I do a prospecting day, I can go in and I can go through and say, I can say, oh, Joe, can you introduce me? And if you're not really working LinkedIn that much, and you don't have to be really, really fancy with it, just you can do a Google search, how to use LinkedIn, and just get very basic with LinkedIn, but add people to your LinkedIn. And then they're 1 or 2 steps away from it, because I'm not real fancy with it. In our company, we have a couple people that are really good with the IT stuff. I'm average with it, but I'm still using it. And it helps me because I can say, oh, you probably know Joe Smith. I'm working over here, and I know this guy over here, and I can ask for introductions. I can ask for referrals.
Have you asked for introductions through LinkedIn? Have you done it?
Yep. Okay. So let me go on here. To use this approach effectively, you have to know the right people. Here's how to begin. Create a most wanted list of 10 occupational categories whose members are frequently in touch with the type of people you desire. So we guys named a few. You said banks, accountants, financial advisors, etc. Now, you don't have to have 10. You could have 5 different types of industries and then target 10 people or 20 people in that industry. You know what I mean? If you're going to say bankers, you could say, I want to focus on these 20 banks. Number 2, make the acquaintances of 10 people in each occupation. Once again, if you have less occupations, then there would be more. When you connect with someone who seems open to sending you business referrals from time to time, you have found a referral partner. Add their name to your list. 10 people times 10 occupations is your circle of 100. Define your niche and you can identify others that serve it. Seek out and network with people in the occupation you're targeting. When you have a specific goal in mind, your networking becomes much more focused. Whenever you meet someone whose occupation matches one of your list, ask. I think we might be able to refer each other clients. Can we get together and talk about that? Underline that. Circle that. I think we might be able to refer each other clients. Can we get together and talk about that? A coffee, or can we do something? Search for people in targeted occupations on the internet. Different ideas. Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. Local chambers, we just talked about that. Industry association directory, phone directories. So if you specialize in one industry, do you have their association list? Like I was really blessed that I call on speakers. I call on companies that hire speakers and companies that hire trainers. Well, Marshall's a really good friend of mine. He's at the Fairmont Hotel, and I've done work with the Fairmont. He gave me a list of 450 meeting planners, okay, and people that make decisions on stuff I do. Now, why? Because I have a good relationship with him. I bet you in some of the industries you guys call on, you've got clients that love you to death right now, and they have associations. And you might be able to ask them, do you have some sort of list with all your associations? I wonder if you can help me out. What if you just want to hand you a list of 200 names to call on? How fired up would you be? Like, yeah, well, guess what? Are you ever going to get a list like that if you don't ask? Who do you go to ask those first? Your champion customers. Go to your champion customers and ask them. They can hand you a list. You found people to network with. Now what? Ask questions, specifically feel-good questions. Asking feel-good questions is the first step to accomplishing your goal of referrals. Types of feel-good types questions. So I'm just curious, how did you get started in your business? Remember, now you're at coffee with them. You're hanging out with them. Remember, you're trying to find a power partner. You're not necessarily trying to sell these people. This part is about finding your network that's going to help you sell. You guys with me on this?
Yeah.
Okay, it's different. It's a different thing than actually how you're going to sell a person on getting a referral from someone else that you're already working with. How did you get started in this type of business? I always say that. I have to say, where are you from originally? Are you originally from here?
I do too.
That's a good one to say, because they start talking about where they're from. What do you enjoy most about what you do? It's time for the key question. How can I know if someone I'm speaking with would be a good prospect for you? Now, do you guys notice what I'm doing here? I'm not talking about me. I'm trying to get into their, I want to help them. Zig Ziglar, remember Zig Ziglar? You get anything you want in this world if you help enough of the people get what they want. So your goal here is you're going to get with them. I don't know. We can probably help each other's business. So let's get together for a cup of coffee. And the whole time you're there, you want to almost keep talking about how can I help you? How can I? Until they interrupt you. Say, Lizzie, how can I help you? You guys understand how you do that? You got to be giving first before you get with this network of people. And you guys might make a goal. My goal is within 1 year to have 50 of these people, 50 power partners. Within 2 years to have 100. And then you know what you do? You get a database going, and you're sending out emails to them, and you're sending out little Christmas welcomes. You know, when's your birthday? You're building a relationship with them. They go, I like this guy. I like this gal. You're building a relationship with your power partners. Okay, this is the same philosophy on scaling a company. So that's what we did in our company. We're scaling different markets. We're growing our company and building different markets. It's called scaling, duplicating yourself. You guys are going to reach a certain point in your business. You can't make any more money because you have no more time. Does that make sense, guys? All right. So do you want to scale right now? You want to start the process of scaling? Then you need to build your power partners and your networking. All right? And you need to make that part of your focus. And not all of them have to be in your industry. You could have someone that runs your best friend works as a front desk person at the hotel, but he happens to know in his sphere of 200, he knows 3 people that would be perfect targets for you. You see what I'm saying? And that's what you want to do. You want to build your sphere. And then you can even have, one of my friends, he has a customer appreciation party every year, and he invites the power partners. He has a big thing at a happy hour, like a 2-hour happy hour at a bar, and he invites his clients and power partners. Okay, to that.
That's good.
Okay, nothing builds trust and credibility with the prospect more than actually referring business to them whenever possible. Your conversation has ended and you never ever mentioned your products or services. Put a star next to that. If you actually got together with them and you got to go or something and you didn't even talk about yours, they didn't even ask you, you spent all your time fighting about them, hopefully they're naturally going to interrupt you eventually, but that's the game you got to play. You're totally here to help them. Then they want to help you. You've gotten your prospect's business card. You're now in the position to follow up correctly and systematically in order to nurture the new relationship. Whenever meeting new people, those feel-good questions will help you to very quickly build your prospect. Once you have 100 names listed, you can change your tactics from getting acquainted to following up. Stay in touch with everyone at least once a quarter. Asking for referrals before the presentation. Let people know early in the presentation that a big part of your client base comes from and is dependent upon receiving referrals. Number 1, drop a third-person story. Third-person stories are powerful sales tools, and they reinforce that you get referrals from your clients. Hang on a second. Number 2, if someone says no to your product, if someone says no to your product or service, but you can tell that the person still likes you, you may be able to get a referral. Ask for referrals when the customer signs the dotted line. Make a little note to yourself. That's when they're the hottest. When they're signing up with you, they like you. Oh, by the way, and then I'll show you ways to ask for them here in a second, but that's a hot time to make sure you're asking for the referral. Their confidence is highest when they're actually committing to your offer. It's usually the only time the average salesperson asks for referrals, and it's an important step. Post-sale follow-up is good business. A lot of times people make a sale and they don't follow up with them. It lets customers know you're interested in their well-being, and it makes it easier to get referrals later on. 2 weeks after closing, call. Create an ongoing contact program with your clients. Do you guys have that now, Liz?
Not as effectively as we should. It's dependent upon the producer, and some have better ones than others. But generally speaking, we don't have a.
I would recommend that's another luncheon. Remember how we did at luncheon when you brainstorm?
Yeah.
I would say in the next couple of weeks, you guys have a brainstorming session about how we can be uniform in our follow-up.
Yeah.
That we all do the same thing, and we can have people help us create some cards and things that we do just naturally that go out. So we have a good follow-up system after we get a client. And you guys can probably come up with some great ideas by having a brainstorming session on that. It can be monthly, quarterly, every 6 months, or every year, depending on the industry and the amount of client contact you normally have. It's a great opportunity to ask if they have many new contacts that could benefit. So what if you guys had just like emails that went out, things that were constantly being taken care of and constantly being followed up on, and constantly happening automatically, electronically.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys realize where some stuff could come in? Once again, we want to build a machine here. A machine that goes natural. A machine that I don't have to dial every time, I make every call. We want to build this so that things automatically go out. Emails automatically go out. People are automatically prospecting for us because I build a network. Do you guys see how in the long term that's the way you want to build your business?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is this clicking with you guys a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because you're going to reach a point where you're just tired of doing it.
Yeah.
So you're paying the price now so that later on you can be rocking. Asking you shall receive. The sample statements for asking for referrals. The average salesperson would ask, do you know anyone else who might want to buy what we just bought? Okay, that's kind of boring. Okay, but that's how people do it. When someone is asked that direct question, their mind goes blank and they cannot think of a single person. Aim to be more specific. Aim to be more specific. Like, so, I'm just curious. Who are your 4 closest friends you hang out with? When you guys have dinner parties and whatnot, I'm just curious. Who do you think that might also, of those four, which one might be the most interested? It's almost called like a forced referral. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And then they go, oh, Mark would probably love this. And then you can say, would you mind, hey, I know you're loving it so far. Would you mind giving Mark a call and tell him how much you're loving this, man? Because that's really helpful. See, they might have said they didn't know anybody. But when I said, who do you know that you hang out with? And then would you mind giving Mark a call? So that's a huge one. Put a star next to that. You have to be specific. Who do you play golf with? Who do you go to parties with? What associations are you in? Who do you hang out with in the association? Give incentives. Oh, I do this all the time. Give incentives for the customers that give you referrals. When I used to do fundraising for schools, guys, I would get all of our fundraising products. All right? And I got them for like, if a fundraising project in our brochure, like a little bowl of candy is $10, we got it half a sample, half of wholesale, so it was like $3. Mm-hmm. So I would give something of value that's 10, and it's worth 3. I'll tell you what, Starbucks cards go well. Gas cards go well. All right? So, see, sometimes, are you guys allowed to give referral gifts?
Yeah.
Okay, because real estate's not. There's rules on real estate. All right? So, what if you went out and bought a bunch of $5 Starbucks cards? And what if you bought some $25 gas cards? You say, hey, I got a little referral program. If you give me a referral that they even talk to me, it's a little coffee, not a big deal. If they become a client of mine, you get.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Now there's a little bit more. I have one lady, guys, that when I used to do the fundraising thing, she gave me 15 referrals. Because every time she got $25 worth of fundraising products. So she got excited about, you'll get a few people that get excited. When I did the chamber, I did a keynote for the chamber a couple weeks ago, and I did a drawing for those vacation packages. All right? And I said, every time you give me another name in the referral thing, you get your name in the drawing another time. One guy gave me 9 referrals. He probably wouldn't have given me 9 referrals, but he wanted 9 names in the drawing. You see what I'm saying? So we have to think, what's going to motivate them to give us referrals? So I would make a note to yourself, what kind of incentive program can I set up that motivates people to give me a referral? Ask them for the contact's phone numbers. Oh, and then that guy that gave me this is the thing that don't make this mistake. If they're going to give you referrals, the guy wrote them, and when you're doing a keynote, guys, there's hundreds of people there, and they want your autograph at the end, you're doing all this stuff. It's crazy. I forgot to ask for phone numbers. So I took the sheet and I put his name in the drawing 9 times and he won. Okay? But on the thing, he didn't put their phone numbers. So later on when I'm looking at it thinking, cool, I got 9 referrals from this guy, there was no phone numbers there. Mm-hmm. So if you guys are going to do some sort of referral program, make sure they give you everything. The email, phone number, all the contact information so you can easily reach them. End by thanking them and assuring them you'll let them know if any business arises from the referral. It's called the 5-step referral process now. Yes, momentum. Okay, this is the phone one. Oh, this is awesome. Have I shown you guys the cell phone technique yet?
No.
No.
Awesome. Okay, you guys ready? Okay, we got to.
Ready.
Okay, this is awesome. Okay. So, when you go into a presentation, all right, where do people keep their contacts? Think about it. Where do most people keep their contacts?
And there's some.
If they're a good contact, if they're a good relationship, a good friend, something that's in their cell phone, right? So you put your cell phone on the table, just casually, right? So they see it. And then if they have their cell phone out, hopefully they will if you have yours out, okay? Or say, I saw your cell phone there. Or do you keep your cell phone I keep my cell phone out. Do you keep yours in your pocket? I kind of bring up a conversation so I know where their cell phone is. You guys with me on that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if it's out, is that your cell phone device? And they go, oh yeah. Is that your PDA? And you want them to say yes. Get yes momentum going. Next step. At some point, I imagine that you're going to have a question about our product. And I'd like you to have my personal cell phone number and have it in your cell phone. So if it's okay with you, if I go ahead and give you my phone number, you can call me on my personal, not the office, but I want to give you my personal cell phone number. Would you mind putting it in your phone just because I know at some point you're going to be able to reach me and I want to be really easy for you to reach. Now, if they go, sure, and they pull their cell phone out. Now, and they start putting their cell phone in. Now, what do they have out?
Contact list.
They have out their phone. And they're putting your phone number in their phone. And their contact list is in their phone. Okay? Great. You may or may not know this, but I really only prefer to do business with friends or friends of friends. Most of my business is by referral. I got 13 clients I'm working with on a regular basis right now. 10 of them I got from referrals.
He and Janice. Go, Janice!
Okay?
By referral only.
I know, I love it.
Now, you guys got to study this stuff. You got to remember this stuff. All right? Who do you know that just based on who you are, underline that. Who do you know that just based on who you are would be open to checking something out if you recommended it? Based on who you are, who might be open to talking with me? Now, last step. Fantastic. I know that most clients I work with like to contact people they refer me to before I do. Would you rather call them directly or should I call them for you? I actually I ask them to call first. But here's what I do. I say, you know what? It'd be awesome if you could go through your contacts in there and just let's go through them and see if there's any in there that might be good candidates for what I do. And I tell a true story. When I was in Florida, it's a couple years ago, I had one lady that literally sat with her cell phone because she loved me. I was coaching her. She was a good friend. I saw her at the event. She said, I'll do anything to help you out, Gary. And she went through her thing, and she gave me 19 contacts. She gave me 19 people to call. Now, what am I doing, guys, by giving an example of somebody else that gave me 19 referrals while I'm holding my phone and they're holding their phone right there? What am I doing? NLP again. What am I doing? I'm getting them to go, I better give him something.
Yeah.
I better give him a couple. He got 19 from that one person. I better give him at least a couple. Now, until you guys get your first story of 19, you can just say, I know a guy that one of his clients gave him 19. You guys can say that until you get your first success story. All right? And then you can say it from yourself. It's better to tell your own story than somebody else. All right? Now, this is a great guy. What if you did this? What if you perfected this? I tell people, practice this. Get role play. Hey, let's do this phone thing. It's going to be awkward at first. And let's get this cell phone thing down. This is one of the best referral techniques ever. We teach it in coaching. We teach it at our events. It is huge, the cell phone technique. Because everybody has a cell phone. And in their cell phones are people they know. And once again, you're looking for two things, guys. You're looking for a power partner that could be in one of those industries that can help get you referrals, or you're looking for a specific person you can call in. Or it could be a person that works at that company that could refer you to the person that's the decision maker. Do you see what I'm saying? So there's three different things you're possibly looking for in other people's phones. And remember what I said a second ago. You have to be very specific what you're looking for. You can't just say, who do you know? Who do you know? Points to remember and tips to get referrals. Not all customers are referral candidates. Find the top 30% that are ecstatic about your business and ask them for referrals. So right now you go, okay, I got this many clients I'm working with forever. Who are my champion customers? Let's first go after the 30% that are my top ones that would probably be likely to give me. So I start getting referral momentum, and I get excited about referrals again. So let's start asking for referrals from people that I know like me. Provide special awards to your referring customers on a regular basis. We just talked about that. Create a basic thank you letter that can be personalized and sent to each referral you receive. How cool is that? You get a referral and someone sends you a thank you. You get a nice thank you for that. Really nice formal. Oh, here's a $5 Starbucks card. Thank you. $5. You know, God, they're going to want to give you another one because you took the time to think about them. Treat your referral source with the utmost of care, and you will not only build a foundation of trust, but keep hot prospects coming to your door more often. Make it easy for your client or referral network member. Write the letter of referral. Create a stamp and a postcard that only needs to be addressed. Okay, so this is really cool. So if you're getting a testimonial, and you want somebody to write you a testimonial letter, and it's a hassle. They got to go write a testimonial letter for you. I'm blessed because I've gotten 5 from Heffernan so far. So Lizzie's given me 2. If anybody wants to give me one, I'm going to ask because you never get unless you ask. If I've made a difference, it'd be awesome if you wrote one. But if you don't have the time to write one for me, tell me what you like and I'll write it. And I'll write it on, give me a piece of letterhead, and it's so great writing referral letters about yourself. A little tip on that. A little tip on that is, you want a referral letter, guys, write this down. You want a referral letter that's going to overcome every objection you might get.
That's huge.
Okay, so if you get a price objection, then you want to have a referral that, originally I thought it was going to be too expensive. Then actually when I sat down with them, it was actually pretty reasonable. I didn't know how I'd feel about switching companies. And then someone said, I was so worried about switching companies. And oh my God, but Gary stayed with me for 2 years and stayed on top of it. And then I finally made it, and I'm so glad I did. So you guys need to have a referral letter for every single objection that you get.
A separate letter for each?
Yes.
Or one letter?
No, a separate letter for each one. Separate letter for each one. All right?
I don't have to assign it in order for everybody to do it, by the way, okay? So please feel free to take the self-leadership that we have all learned and initiate this yourself and get it done with your book of business.
Okay, ask for referrals on your marketing materials. So like anything that goes out, there should be a spot on that for who do you know. And then you can say, you might have noticed on the little brochure right there, it says, who do you know? Update everyone who gives you referrals. What's happening? People love to be appreciated. When you get a referral, thank the person who gave it to you and keep them updated. If you want to get referrals, it sometimes pays great dividends to give them. Remember that. You want to be giving referrals all the time. You always want to be thinking, who can I help today? Who can I help today? If I help them, they're going to help me. Okay, the more you give, the more you get. Once a client gives you a name, ask her if she would be willing to give that person a call. Break the ice. Share how important it is for you to get referrals. Help your clients think of who would be good referrals. This is a little bit of review here, guys. It's some good stuff we've just been covering here. Expect referrals. Set the expectation from the outset. I always say that. When I take on a new client, I always say, hey, I want to do such a good job. I want to make you happy. If you guys remember, in the very first session I did with you guys on closing, which was my first session, remember one of the characteristics of a top closer is my client happy? Is my client happy? Is my client happy? Is my client happy? Are they happy? Are they happy? And the reason I want you to be happy is I want you to refer me. So you guys should be always saying from the very get-go that I want to do such a good job that you'd be happy referring me to other people. When handing out business cards, hand them an extra to give to a friend that may need your services. When sending out mailing to customers, attach 2 coupons to your business. On one print for you and on the second print for a friend. I even on my business card, this is really cool, guys. I don't know what you guys have on the back of your cards. I don't know if you can zoom in on that far, but it says on the back of my card, if you want to show your thanks, please refer me to a friend. All right? And I go, that's kind of the way I run. And I show them. You know, you might notice on the back of my card, it says, if you want to show your thanks, please refer me to a friend. Now, I'm going to teach you guys another technique that's not written in here. And I learned this from Tom Hopkins. It's pretty cool. What you write is you write thank you on your card. Make a little note to write thank you on your business cards. You handwrite thank you. So let me hand this card to you. Pretend thank you was written on it. Just pretend I didn't write it on that one. Okay. So I just want to give you my card. Do you know something interesting about the card?
Yeah, you sent me a personal note. You said thank you.
You notice I wrote thank you on the card. You know what? I write thank you on almost all my cards. Every now and then I forget to write them, but I really make an effort to write thank you on the card. And I just want to thank you in advance for hopefully the opportunity we can work together at some point in the future.
Sounds good, thank you.
I want you guys to write that one down, okay? Okay, now what? So I said, did you know anything interesting about my card? And he goes, well, yeah, you wrote a personal note. You wrote thank you on the card. And what did I do? I want to thank you, what? In advance.
Presumptive close.
Okay, for hopefully the opportunity we can work together at some point in the future. Copy of that, okay? Turned up a notch weekly, and a book I really want to write. It's going to be in the next 3 months, I think. Building accountability. I want to talk about accountability because some people talk about doing things and they don't do it. They talk. They talk a game. They talk. I'm going to do this, and they don't do it and they quit. And I'm very sensitive to it because there's been things in my life that I said I was going to do and I didn't do. Okay, and then I kick myself in the butt and I bounce back. But I just think accountability is the thing that's missing in people's lives so much. So I want to talk about it. And I want to leave today with you guys not only getting excited about closing, getting excited about referrals, but now having some accountability to go out and do something with it. So here we go. There was a businessman in a restaurant trying to get a quick lunch before he had to go back to work. He was getting impatient as there was no waiter coming by. He kept raising his hand for the water, but he was getting no response. The busboy noticed the frustrated businessman and said, "Can I help you?" He did this even though he was very busy himself and had a full tray of dirty dishes he was carrying. The man ordered a salad, 2 rolls, and a Diet Coke. The busboy said, "Sorry, sir, we only have Diet Pepsi." The man then said, "No, thanks. I'll just take a water with lemon." A few minutes later, the man's salad arrived. And just 2 minutes later, a nice large frosty Diet Coke arrived. The businessman was impressed, went to seek out the busboy and say thank you and asked how he pulled that off. He said, "It was easy. I just went to the manager and asked him to go to the grocery store across the street. It's only $1. It was not a surprise to him when just a few months later the businessman went back to the restaurant to see about hiring the busboy for his new restaurant. He found out that he had promoted to another location. Liz?
In our world today, many people would have just said, "Why do I have to do everything around here?" Or, "Who's supposed to be covering that section?" Or, "When is management going to carry more kinds of soda?" These types of questions all represent a lack of personal accountability. They all imply someone or something else is responsible for the problem and or situation. These are thought processes that I like to call, quote-unquote, victim thinking. We really need to try to reduce this type of thinking in our lives. It's better to... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Owen.
It is better to ask ourselves things like, what can I do to contribute? How can I resolve the problem? What can I do to make things better around here? How can I do my job better? What can I do to improve the situation? How can I support others?
These are much better ways to think. You also control your own destiny this way as opposed to waiting around for things to happen. By just saying these things and writing these positive questions down, you actually begin feeling better.
Keep reading.
Okay. By asking these zero accountability types of questions, it brings on the big S word, stress. Yet stress is really a choice because we all know that bad things do happen. We know that from time to time the economy sours, our businesses struggle, people lose their jobs, people don't follow through, good people quit, etc. Yet all of this is a choice because we always choose our own response. We choose it either angrily, by being quiet, or by worrying. Stress is a result of our choices. By asking those types of questions, we feel as if we have no control and go into that victim mindset, which is stressful.
Okay, next.
There are some good words to use and some words that are not so good to use when asking questions either out loud or to yourself in self-talk. Always begin questions with what, not why, when, how, who. Make sure the question contains I, not they, them, we, you.
Keep going.
I would also like to suggest that you do not use the word when, because what you're really saying is we have no choice but to wait and put off the action to another time, which then leads to procrastination.
Okay, next.
Who questions in fear, blame, or who done it? They create fear, destroy creativity, and build walls. Instead, use what questions like, what can I do today to solve the problem? Or, what actions can I take right now to own the situation? What I mean to say when I talk about owning something is to be truly committed, to fix the problem and never pass blame on that person or situation again.
Next.
One of the most accountable people I have ever met is Mr. John Fope. John Fope is a professional speaker, and he travels the world talking about how to be accountable and deal with your situations that life has thrown your way. John was born with no arms. He was forced to learn how to do everything through life with just his feet. John did not get the poor little old me syndrome. He said to himself, I can learn how to succeed in life. I am accountable for me.
Go on.
I can wait around for others to take care of me, or I can be proactive and learn how to do things on my own instead of depending on others to carry my load. He drives, cooks, eats, shops, and does almost anything a person can do with 2 limbs as opposed to 4. I recommend you Google him or you YouTube him and watch some of the videos and check him out a bit. When you see how accountable he is, it will probably motivate you to be a bit more.
Okay, next.
A question many of us ask ourselves is, how can I change that person for the better? Well, you really should stop doing that because only you can change you.
It's huge.
Don't worry about when others walk their talk. Walk yours, because you can only control you. You can influence others, but they have to take the action. The more you try to get somebody to do something, the more resistance, and it becomes a vicious cycle.
Next.
Another question that we should be asking ourselves is kind of like an integrity test. Does what we say about our job at work match what we say about our job at home? Believe or leave is a quote I once heard, and it may sound harsh, but if your work is no longer a vehicle to achieve your life's goals, then why would you stay there? That does not mean get up and quit your job today, but really dig in, figure out where you really want to be 3, 5, and 10 years down the road. This same concept goes with your personal life. Does what we say about our personal life out in public really match about how we feel when we are at home? Do something to fix it or move on to what will really make you happy.
Next.
Another question that is real good accountability question is, are you serving daily as a role model to people around you? We always get in a tiff when athletes, actors, etc. get out of line because they're supposed to be role models for our children. But really, we are the role models to our children and the people around us in our lives. No matter what our role, someone is watching and maybe emulating or despising our behavior.
You guys up sitting on the counter up there?
Who's watching you? Who's holding you accountable? An even deeper question is, who's holding you accountable other than yourself?
Underline that right there. Who's holding you accountable other than yourself? A lot of you guys, after we did that session 3 weeks ago, you said, okay, I'm ready. I want you to hold me accountable. But who's really still doing that 3 weeks later? I don't know. Keep going.
If you allow somebody else to hold you accountable, and I mean really hold you accountable with penalties, if you do not achieve what you are going for and possibly rewards you if you do, you are really increasing your chances of getting what you really want. Many of you come to our conference, and I created the accountability contract that you may want to use to tighten up this concept of accountability partners.
Next.
Another big question we should always be asking ourselves is, what can I do to be in the action today? Not, I think I will start next week, next month, or next year. This may seem like a big risk. However, doing nothing is a bigger risk. Action, even if it leads to mistakes, brings learning and growth. Inaction brings stagnation and atrophy. Action leads us towards solutions, and inaction holds us in the past and does nothing. There is a quote that I say often and really love: the pain of discipline is easier than the pain of regret. It takes a lot of accountability to be disciplined, but doing nothing more often than not has a lot more pain and stress associated with it in the long term. If you are unhappy in any part of your life, you wear that pain and struggle every day with you. However, if you allowed yourself to be really held accountable to work on that area, the pain and struggle would be diminished and possibly even gone. I have a question for you to ponder and think about. What do you need to get started on today? Where do you need to take action beginning today?
Underline that, guys. Star that. What do you need to start today? It's huge. I'm going to read the last 3 paragraphs. The last question I want to mention that involves accountability is, are you a leader to the people around you? You don't necessarily have to have the title leader, but you can act like a leader, and people will respect you as one. As a leader, you choose to make a positive contribution to your company, family, community, no matter what may get in the way. You carry the servant's heart as well as a humble, non-egotistical spirit. If we think like leaders, then we are leaders. Leaders help people hit their goals, take the accountability for it, whether or not they're actually on track to hit their goals. All of this accountability stuff really works if you put your mind to it. If you write it out and spend some time reviewing all this stuff, you really will begin to act differently. I noticed as I wrote these notes for the call, I found myself getting things done, like fixing our koi pond in my backyard, taking our kitty litter box out. If I had not been working on this article, I would not have been really digging in on all those sessions, and I probably would have procrastinated on this stuff a little longer. In summary, accountability questioning is a way to really own your life and where you are going. Knowing we don't know everything yet, we are constantly growing and getting better in things is the key to being really fulfilled. Understanding the concept of accountability allows you to stay away from the disease of average. It allows you to eliminate excuses you make in your life for not being where you want to be, and allows you to work at things until there's no way you can fail. So I met with almost every one of you guys 3 weeks ago, and my question to you is: are you still accountable? Have you kept the accountability? Are you doing less of it now than you were 3 weeks ago? Or was today a good little, like, you know what, I need to get back, I need to come on, what's today a wake-up call? I love you guys. We'll see you guys in another month. And I think one of the sessions you can look forward to will be objections next month. And probably some review of what we did today, because I think referrals needs to be reviewed again. Mm-hmm. I think referrals is something I need to constantly remind you about. And I want you to let me know and let Lizzie know, what growth do you want to have in referrals? Be specific with it. What's going to be your goal in that area? And I think, John, with that, we can call it a take and put music on, and we're good to go.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you, Gary. Awesome. Woo!